Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
You know, speaking of our gods and shit, I don't know if we talked about this. You know, kids would pray to Lucifer, unironically.
We talked about this on our podcast. There was a story that I told a long time ago about how this one girl used to pray for the devil, for Lucifer, for Samael, because no one would pray for him, not to him, for him.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And she ended up dying, and a man in a black suit came and said, I'm going to pay for everything. And then the mother said, well, who are you? And he said, the man in the suit said something along the lines of, don't worry about who I am. All you got to know is that she prayed for me. And I'm going to pay for everything.
And then there are people saying, because I saw that shit on a reel about like kids or people praying for Lucifer or just wishing him well or some sorts.
Yeah.
Because some people had the argument or like the point of everybody has sinned in one way or another, and they should be not be forgiven, but they should at least be like, you know, showing some love because like they sinned.
Show mercy, yeah.
Yeah. And then some people were saying, oh, well, he rebelled against God and was blasphemous towards him and shit. And then in my head, I'm like, well, why is it wrong to, if Lucifer was his brightest angel and shit, and there are parents out there who have like a bright child or some shit,
yeah,
like they could be like there's fucking murderers out here that are forgiven by, you know, victims of families and shit. I mean, give them power, because how the fuck is that possible?
There was this one that reminds me, because there was this one story of this one guy who had his son got murdered, and then the guy, like, everybody was talking like shit to him, like, I hope you burn in hell, da da da. I can't remember the name or the the names of the victim or the person that murdered him, but there was his dad, the guy of the victim, the guy's dad's victim. Is that how you say it? The guy's dad's victim?
The victim of
the victim's
the father's
dad,
victim?
The victim's dad.
Okay.
Pretty much told him and said, you know what, I could say 1,000,001 things, but all I'm gonna say is that I forgive you for what you did. And then that is when the killer was in tears, because everybody else was like saying, I hope you go to burn in hell, da da da. And then the victim's father said, I forgive you for what you did. And I hope that you can forgive yourself, or something like that. And that's when he started crying. I was like, damn, that's crazy. So my thing is, though, bro, what you were saying, if we were to pray for the devil, right, or for Satan, Lucifer, would we get damned to hell?
I don't know. I mean,
would God find that appealing, or would he, like, you know, be like, nah, fam, don't do that?
I mean, even that hypothetical question would still be like, at least in my eyes, would be like,
or is it even blasphemous to talk about it?
I mean, hypothetically, if you word it like that, I would say, like, well, if God is all forgiving and stuff, why can't his own creation forgive the angels that were once in his kingdom and forgive them as well? I mean, like, what the fuck is that about? And, you know, so it always revolves around back to that question of, like, if God is all forgiving, why can't he, you know, accept us for X, Y, and Z? And I don't know. I mean, would I find it weird if my child was like, or if my kid was like, hey, mommy, like, you know, I pray for Lucifer because, you know, I heard he did wrong and I think he should be forgiven or be shown mercy. Yeah. I'd be like, just don't get demons in the house. That's fine, but do it with your own safety, though, bro.
That's the thing, bro. Like for example, with the, you know, that's a question we could ask a priest.
What?
Like, is it okay to pray for the devil? And then they'll be like, what? I'm gonna be like, no, not pray to the devil, but pray for the devil. Like, ask for forgiveness for the devil.
Fuck, there was this one quote that was in that comment section that says something like, I forgot what it was. It says something like, if I have to ask God for forgiveness or some shit, then maybe asking the devil for strength is something I should do or something like that. It was a hard ass quote. Here's a little a theory that I have. This is a theory I have. I've never heard anybody else talk about this theory. Just a theory.
This is my theory and my theory alone. I'm not saying that I believe this, but I'm just saying that it is a theory. So my theory is, you know how you have a mom and a dad, right? So let's say God is a woman or God is a man, right? What if, bro, the devil was the mom or, for example, the dad, right? So let's say that God is a woman, right? So if God is a woman, he is our mother, right? He is our, or she is our creator. Now, what if the devil was our father? So what if God and Lucifer were married, and God twisted your mind and said, "Don't listen to the devil.
That's fucked.
Because he is evil. He just wants bad for you."
Fuck.
But the devil's like, "No, I love you. You are my creation." And thus why he got rebelled, because God was like, "You're not going to get in between me and my children, us," and damned him to earth or to hell. And that's why God doesn't want us close to the devil.
Be some sickening shit,
God,
bro.
Because God is our mom and the devil is our dad. Think about that. Think about it, because it's true. Like, that happens here, right? Like, if you have a mom, right? You have a mom and then your dad, and they're married. They don't work out. What's the first thing your mom is gonna say, bro? Don't listen to your dad. Your dad's a bitch. Your dad is this. Your dad is that. Your dad's a liar. He's a manipulator.
And in a lot of cases, it is like, you know, when
It's
two
actually
parents,
vice versa, dude. Vice versa. The dad is actually like, "Yeah, you know what? And then the mom's the one that's manipulating you, bro.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, a lot of cases are like that, especially with crazy religious people who are like, "Don't listen to your father because he's crazy and shit." And I found a quote here. It says, "Two kinds of people who pray to Satan." Lucifer. Is his real name Lucifer or Samael?
Well, so his biblical, that's the thing. The biblical name, I think, is Samael.
Fire. Samuel. And it says one who is hungry for power and the other who is deserving of peace. And then somebody here said, "Might actually start praying for his forgiveness instead of mine." And I'm like, fuck, dude. And, you know,
well, that's true, though. Like, again, though, like, is that bad? So, like, if you do pray to for the devil, will God damn you to hell? Bars? Question mark? Because it's like, is that a bad thing to do? Like, are you blasphemous for praying to for the devil?
I mean, you could say the same thing about, you know, the murders and shit. Like, is it blasphemous that I forgive somebody who
murders?
Like, is it fair to my dead son that I forgive his murderer? And if
that's true,
and if
that's true,
and in some people's eyes it is, but in mine it's not. So it's like, then why can't the same thing be said for Lucifer? You know.
You know, I always said that if somebody were to murder like a family member of mine, I would forgive him, but I don't think I would.
This might sound fucked up, but I think it would depend on who it is that they murdered.
That's crazy.
That's insane, bro.
That's actually insane.
Getting rid of things, that doesn't sound funny.